guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Advanced Bass Fishing, and appreciate you guys checking out today's episode and spending some of your day with me here. We are going to be talking about night fishing today. We talk briefly about night fishing on the channel occasionally, but we don't really do any full-fledged videos on it. So I want to give you guys some good tips and advice on this, because if you're just wanting to get bit and you're wanting to catch bass, there's no better time to fish at night. I think that most of the bass feed during the nighttime. They're easier to catch, they're shallower, they're more aggressive, and you know, it's worth your time, man. If you've never night fished, it's really fun to do, and I've got a lot of experience on it, so we're gonna get some good tips and advice out there on the video today. I'm also, guys, before we get started, a couple quick things. Got two big Black Friday sales going on. I know you're probably burned out on Black Friday sales, but these are really good ones here. Right now, Silverback, guys, has got 50% off on my Signature Series RB2s and 3s. I'll put the link in the description of the video through my Silverback link if you guys would like to get a pair at 50% off. Use promo code RandyB, capital R, capital B, for free shipping and handling. And also Tackle Warehouse, guys, they got a bunch of stuff right now on sale for 25% off. I'll have my Tackle Warehouse link in this description. If you guys can use and bookmark my link in the description, channel gets credit for that. It's a really good way to subsidize and help the channel out, and much appreciated if you guys take advantage of that there. Okay, night fishing, guys, man, I used to do a bunch of it. I had, when I first started fishing back when I was like a senior in high school, I joined a bass club called Big Mo Bass Club in Joplin, Missouri. And I was in my late teens then, early 20s maybe. And most of the guys in the club were a lot older. And these dudes, they did not want to fish during the daytime. They wanted to fish nighttime all the time. I mean, they just didn't want to be out in the heat. They just loved night fishing. So I was forced to learn how to night fish because most of our club tournaments were at night, either like on Table Rock Lake, Stockton Lake, Grand Lake, you know, here in the Missouri Ozarks. So I got really familiar fishing with night fishing. And then I had another friend of mine, a really good friend of mine, still is today. He was a night fishing fanatic, and he'd always want to drag me out night fishing. He thought it was the greatest thing in the world. So I had a lot of dirt time night fishing. I want to pass on some stuff that I've learned about it. First of all, it's always better. Fishing at night is going to be better for sure. The fish are feeding. Again, I think most fish feed at night. They're in a part of the lake that they're more accessible, and they're just more active. That's the bottom line to it. If you go out in the daytime, let's say you go fishing in May, and you go out and you catch 10 bass in one day. If you go back to that same area at night, you'll probably catch 30, and they'll all be bigger. More fish and bigger fish are to be caught at night. So that's the advantage of it. So here's some things that you want to remember about night fishing. First of all, lure selection. It's pretty basic. There's not a lot of different stuff that you really need for night fishing. You need a black spinnerbait, like a 1/2 ounce black spinnerbait, usually with like a number 5 Colorado blade on it. That's probably my number 1 favorite night bait. You need a plastic worm or a jig, some type of a dark plastic worm, some type of a dark jig, possibly like a black buzz bait, some type of a buzzer maybe in the summertime, and a chatterbait can work pretty decent. Those are basically about all you need for night fishing. Pretty simple. And pretty much, guys, you can get by with 2. If you have a black spinnerbait and a Texas rig worm, like a 9 or 10 inch worm and a black spinnerbait, you're going to catch some fish at night for sure, almost anywhere you go. So that's the bait selection. The next thing that you have to remember when you're night fishing is the locations where you want to fish at. Now, one of the things about night fishing that you're going to find out are the best places to fish at night are the places that a bass can move up and down very quickly, because a lot of these fish that you're catching at night, they don't live, you know, up there where you catch them at night. They're up there feeding. Most of them pull back to deeper water, you know, later in the day, especially if it's warmer time of year, water temperature over 70. So I like to fish the steeper areas. I'm looking for steep rocky banks. I'm looking for bluffy banks. I'm looking for some type of a channel bank, maybe a sharp point, or a steep riprap bank. Those are the best areas. I'm not saying you can't catch them anywhere. You can get bit at night about anywhere, you know, to some extent. But the best areas are always those areas that are close to deep water. So the number one thing I would suggest is that if you look at your map and you find a steep rocky bank that's got a channel close to that steep rocky bank, especially if it's set up next to a point. Here's a perfect scenario. Go back like in one of your major creek arms and find one of the steepest banks in that creek where the creek channel almost hits that bank and it's close to a point. So say, for example, if I see a point in front of me and I can find a bank like that that's leading up to that point, a steep bank that's got a channel on it leading up to that point, that's a perfect night fishing place. Definitely going to be some fish there. You know, points are excellent places at night. You can't go wrong just running main lake and secondary points. You're going to catch some fish, and riprap banks are outstanding. But by far, I think that the steep rocky banks, bluffy type banks are going to be your best areas to night fish in. Now, every lake's different. I mean, if you got grass, flat, low in the lake, it's going to be different. If you're up north fishing for smallmouth, it's going to be different. But in most man-made lakes, that's what you want to look for. Another thing that's really important at nighttime is you want to parallel the bank. Most of these fish at night are going to be in less than 5 foot of water. And a lot of them are even like 2 to 3 foot of water. So it's a lot more efficient if you parallel the bank. So that's one of my favorite ways to do it is I'll get on those steep banks and I'll parallel that bank with that spinnerbait, with that chatterbait, with that worm, or with that buzzbait. Really, really good way to catch them with that. And another thing at night fishing is you really need to have the right water visibility. Water visibility is critical at night. You're not going to do very good night fishing on a lake that has dirty water. I think that you really need water visibility of at least 3 foot. That's sort of my minimum with it. Sometimes maybe 2 foot or something, but most of the time I want 3 foot or cleaner. 3 to 6 foot of visibility is perfect for night fishing. That's why my part of the country here in the Ozarks, the White River chain of lakes like Bull Shoals and Table Rock and Beaver, that's why they're such good night fishing lakes, is because it's clear water. Bass can see a little bit better, they can feed better at night, just a better environment all the way around for it. Another thing is try to be very quiet at night and try to not make a lot of noise, because it seems like at night noise is amplified, so try to be quiet. And then there are periods that are going to be better than others. A lot of people swear by a full moon. Personally, I've done the best on a full moon during the springtime of the year. Other times of the year, I haven't noticed the moon make much difference. It's more about the time of night. And for me, the time of night that the fish bite best is like about, say, 10:30 at night until about 2 o'clock in the morning. You can catch them all night long, but it seems like that's when a lot of the major feeding goes on, especially around midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. That's a prime time to be out. I don't do quite as well like early in the morning, like right before the sun comes up, like 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. Seems like it slows down, but it seems like there's a feeding window right around that midnight time, either side of it, a couple hours with it. And also you can use heavy line, guys. Fish at night are not line sensitive, so I usually use 20 to 25 pound test line, on all my, even with my worms at night. They're not going to see the line, definitely going to add up some more fish there. And just try it, man. If you've never tried it before, it's really fun. The only thing that sucks about it is if you night fish and you stay up all night long, it throws your system off the next day, but you don't have to do that. If you want to catch some fish at night, guys, go launch your boat about 10 o'clock at night and go out and fish for 3 or 4 hours. That's probably the best way that you're going to do it. And be careful too, because night fishing, make sure you got your lights on when you're running your boat. Make sure that if you hear anybody around you, you turn your lights on. Go slow, be careful out there, because there's a lot of things that can happen at night that you would not happen during the daytime. So anyway, guys, hope it helps you catch some, and we'll talk later.